Good morning to all Barcelona fans all over the world. Q&A on Barcelona's financial crisis, as Laporta right to blame Bartomeu for £1.15 billion debt. So do you want the bad news or the bad news? Press conferences concerning the finances of Barcelona usually go in that direction, but at least President Joan Laporta looked like a man with a plan as he tore into his predecessor Josep Bartomeu on Monday. Sportsmail looks at the current state of play of the club's catastrophic situation. Just when it seemed the club was on the mend with Pique's pay cut and that opening day win, news that the debt is even bigger. Yes, it was thought to be £996 million, but President Laporta said Monday it's at £1.15 billion. Previous President Bartomeu left the club bankrupt basically. Barcelona bankrupt. Laporta said the club's net worth now was in negative €383 million. So if they sold all assets they wouldn't be able to pay off the debt. In theory that's bankrupt. Were they not a sporting association instead of a company they might have had to start putting a price on the Camp Nou. Laporta confirmed losses of £409 million from last season when the club brought in £557 million but spent £961 million. He always maintained that Bartomeu's Barca was the $3 billion club, $1 billion revenue, $1 billion outgoings, $1 billion debt. Post-pandemic that is now only two-thirds right with income obliterated and spending and debt soaring. This is all terrible news for the club. Well it is, but it's not really new. They knew things were bad. This was merely Laporta giving some more exact figures, pinning the blame on his incompetent predecessor and telling supporters there is a way out of this. Some good news. In a couple of years our economy will be healthy, he promised on Monday. The debt has been restructured and is shown by the ultimate reluctance to give Messi another huge contract. The club has turned a corner and left its ruinous ways behind it. When he was asked if the club would need to cease to be member-owned, Laporta said, "The situation is dramatic but we have good news because we have a strategic plan in place that means the situation is temporary. There is no risk of having to change our status. Barcelona will always belong to its members. But don't they still need to find €200 from somewhere? Not anymore. They needed to keep Messi. His departure means the savings that need to be found at least in order to register any more new players will be more modest." Ronald Koeman mentioned wanting to sign a striker on Saturday. So that's not beyond the realms. Laporta said Monday, "We have to apply the 1-4 rule, so if we free up 100 meters we can spend 25 meters. By the same token, if they get someone earning 10 meters off the wage bill they can bring in someone who is willing to earn 2.5 meters. That's how they managed to register new players this weekend. They had got Mateus Fernandes, Junior Firpo and Conrad de la Fuente off the wage bill, and when Gerard Pique took his pay cut they were able to register Memphis and Eric Garcia. In fact, because Pique is seen as one of the club's franchise players, that triggers a sub-clause of La Liga's 1-4 rule. A 1-2 ratio is applied instead, meaning half the money saved from his wages can be spent. So bizarrely we might not have seen the last of Barca spending. Well, it won't be net spend. If the club gets someone off the wage bill, or if the other veterans take a similar pay cut to Pique, then they could register more players. And in the longer term the cutbacks must continue. When Laporta says he didn't know how bad things were when he took over, you have to believe him. Certainly that meeting with Erling Haaland's agent looks ridiculous now. There will be a couple of very low-cost transfer windows and the club has to drastically change its plans for the redevelopment of the Camp Nou. No new Camp Nou. They still need a rebuild, but it will have to be cheaper. The budget for the recently built Estadi Johan Cruyff, where the B team plays, was £3.4 million in cost.